Okay, welcome everybody. This webinar is sponsored by Expert Media Matters, which is a digital marketing agency. And thank you for joining us today. My name's Lance Luke, and I'll be your presenter. We have a co-host, Martin Pea, who's on the back end, the IT guy. Um, he turned off his video, so if he falls asleep, we're not able to see him sleeping. But he'll be hanging around and helping us if we have any technical difficulties, and hopefully we won't. And let's go right in. Let me tell you about the procedure. This Zoom platform is the Zoom webinar platform. It's not the meeting platform that you're probably used to participating in. So all the participants' microphones are muted. Your video is not shown. And at the end, or anytime, if you have any questions, there's a raise hand icon that you can use. There's also a chat icon and a Q&A icon. So feel free to use whichever ones you want. If you want to ask your question live, click the raise hand icon, and then Martin will be able to get you in and you can actually ask your question live. I did get a bunch of questions emailed, and we can go over that at the end of the program. So the reason behind making this webinar series is we wanted to help small business owners and entrepreneurs, especially in the area of social media and social media marketing. There's a lot of stuff out there on the internet, and sometimes it can get confusing, but our goal is to try and make things simple and easy to understand. And we're not getting too much into the fine details of things. We just want to be able to provide you the foundation and the grassroots, so to speak, so that you can get your start. After you review or listen to our webinar, please, if you have any questions, shoot us an email, give us a call, and we'll be happy to talk story with you. So, what is branding and story selling anyway? As you can see here, a picture of a cow with a brand. So in the old days, ranchers used to brand their livestock for the purpose of, if the cow suddenly got away and wandered off onto somebody else's property, everyone would know that that cow belongs to that certain person or that ranch. So, believe it or not, the branding was actually the precursor to the logos. So, each family had their own design, they branded their livestock, and that was basically their logo at that time. So, let's say that this cow lived on Farmer John's ranch and he got away and he ended up going into Old MacDonald's farm. So Old MacDonald would know that that cow belonged to Farmer John, and there's no dispute because of the brand. So that's basically the start of branding. So exactly what is branding? Well, branding is actually a part of marketing, and um, it's developing your own brand, your own story. There's elements. Uh, you're going to need to promote your own story or promote your own brand through social media and also traditional marketing. So the components that comprise the brand is basically your name, your logo, your identity, uh, what colors you choose, what kind of marketing you do, and your marketing strategy. So today, a brand is no longer what we tell the consumer it is. It is what consumers tell each other it is. So you could come up with your own brand and advertise and do whatever you want. And that's you speaking. But until a consumer or your customer or client tells somebody else, that reinforces your brand. And hopefully, the news is good and not negative. A brand is part of your image, and it could be your whole image. So if you look at the slide on the left, there's a whole bunch of different logos, and each one of those companies has their specific logo, and that's their image, and that's their brand. Some of these do not have words, it's just symbols or an image or a picture. And they marketed that image so much that people automatically know what that company is just by looking at the image without any words. The photo on the right is I was interviewed on the news, and there was a late breaking story, and the news people, I was actually at the movies, and the news people called me up and they wanted to interview me. They asked me where I was. I said I'm at the movies, and they said, okay, which one would be right there? So basically I came out of the movies and I was only wearing like a t-shirt and shorts. So that's not how I would normally dress up when I'm on camera. But when the TV station is interviewing you live, you don't have time to go home and change and comb your hair and basically look good. You just got to just do your thing. So my image at that point wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it was a message that I was talking about that was actually the more important thing. So let's have a game here. I have a bunch of logos, and I'm going to show you two slides with logos, and you're going to guess. It might be hard. You're going to guess what company these logos are from. Okay. The top one, what do you think that is? Well, it's pretty obvious. It's Guess. And that's what I'm trying to do, is have you guess the companies of these logos. So basically, Guess is a company that makes clothes, and the word is right there. And I'm not too sure. I'm not used to seeing the symbol. I'm used to seeing just the words. Okay, so what about the next one? That M, pretty obvious. Yeah, you're right. It's McDonald's, and a lot of people go to McDonald's even if they don't want to. Sometimes they have to take their kids because they have these awesome Happy Meal toys, and that's another marketing thing. So the branding that McDonald's has is pretty awesome because people know that you can go to McDonald's and buy a kid's Happy Meal and it comes with a toy. So, of course, kids want to tell their parents they want to go to McDonald's because they want that Happy Meal toy. And of course, the parents take their kids to McDonald's because of that. So, that's an awesome branding on the part of McDonald's. So, what's the middle one? It's a picture of a fruit. There's no name on it, right? But everyone knows that that's the Apple logo. And then how about the logo on the right? Yep, you guessed it. It's Mercedes, and uh, not all of us drive Mercedes. A lot of people can afford one, but they don't want one because they're really conservative and they don't need to show off. Okay, what about the logo on the top? I mean, it's so simple, but everyone knows it's the Nike brand. What about the other logo? Yep, you're right. That's Mickey Mouse. And you see how simplistic these logos are, but yet it stands for multi-million dollar empires. So how about that bird, that little blue bird? Yep, you guessed it. It's that Twitter bird. Uh, so as you can see, these companies came up with their logo, which is a symbol, an icon, and they really marketed their company a lot using their logo. And so people automatically can recognize it. And you did a good job. If you got all of the answers correct, good for you. You did a good job. So, what are the ways to create your own brand? Well, one way is you can spend $25 to $30,000 and hire an ad agency in New York, and they're going to put their best people on it, interview you, ask you what you do, what you stand for, what your product is, or what your service is, and come up with some kind of uh, marketing package or brand or logos or ideas, and they can tell you, here's 5 different ideas that we think you would like. So let's go over them and talk about it and see what you think. Or, and most people are not willing to, or they do not have the money to spend thousands of dollars on creating a brand. So if you look at the image on the right, that's a person that is doing it themselves. So they're on their little laptop and they're coming up with ideas on um, creating a brand. So this guy just started his own business. He's an entrepreneur. They call a one person entrepreneur a solopreneur. Uh, he's coming up with his side hustle, and he's really working intently on branding, coming up with a brand, an image, a logo, and those kind of things. So basically, he's designing everything on his own. He might need help from business consultants or marketing consultants, but he doesn't have to hire them in a huge contract. He can pay them by the hour to help him as he needs. So let's talk about the different branding methods. So as I mentioned before, there's logos, there's also a website and social media posts. The image on the left is L&L. It used to be L&L Drive-In, and when it uh, there was expansion to sell franchises on the mainland, because mainland people get attracted to the word Hawaiian and barbecue, so they changed their name to L&L Hawaiian Barbecue. And how do I know this? Because I'm personal friends with the L&L owner, Eddie Flores. Uh, the middle image is Expert Media Matters, and this is actually a logo for used on the website, but this image is also a page from Facebook. So this is basically a Facebook business page using the same logo. So when you create your logo, you put your logo on your website, but also use the same logo for any kind of social media uh, that you're gonna do. So if it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, or any of these other ones, be sure when you market your company, you're always using your logo, because when people see the logo, after a while, they're going to recognize it and they're going, aha, I know who these people are. And The image on the right is basically a social media post. And this post is from Facebook. And the key to is you continuously post to Facebook about what you do, about your company, and put a photo and a little description. And if you keep doing that, eventually you're going to build up an audience and you're going to get people to like your posts. You're going to get people who want to become followers because they're interested in what you do and they want more information. Now, the key to social media marketing is through posting. You have a brand, you have a logo, you keep the word out there. So if you're quiet for a week goes by, no one hears about you. But if you keep posting daily or 3 or 4 times a week, you hit more people, and then more people know about you, and then hopefully they tell other people about you. So um, there's a brand strategy. You have to develop and think about who your target audience is. And part of that is brand positioning. When you figure out who your target audience is, then you kind of come up with a program to position yourself in the marketplace. Big questions to ask yourself is when you're coming up with your brand strategy, the questions to ask is, do I know and understand my audience? First of all, who is my audience? Okay. How do you determine who your audience is? You determine who your audience is by doing market research. And part of that maybe would be uh, checking on your competition and see what they're doing and who their audience is. Also, what service or product do you provide to this audience? Is it a specific product? Is it products? Is it service? There's so many different small businesses that have different products and different services. In the service industry, there's professional services and non-professional, meaning more blue collar than white collar. But all of them fit in the same category as small business owners. Think about what your brand message is or what your story is, and you can do that through your logo, website, social media. Be consistent. Another big question is, well, why is branding so important? Well, it helps you stand out from the competition because there's so much confusion and noise out there that it gets confusing for the consumer or the buyer, especially when a buyer wants to buy a product, or let's say go to your restaurant. He goes on Google and he does a search. I want to eat Chinese food. And he puts Chinese restaurants in Honolulu. And guess what? 20 listings pop up and it's so confusing. Okay. So you got to figure out a way to stand out from the competition. Branding also builds recognition. It creates consistent experience for your customers if you keep saying the same message. Okay, and then what you want to do is want to develop a connection with your audience, and you want to turn your audience into loyal, paying customers or clients. So think about what your mission is, your mission or vision statement, what your values are. Also important to the mix is choose colors, font sizes, and your logo. So if you already have those done, you might want to revisit that and look at it and see if it's working. If you're happy with it, fine. If you're not, maybe it's time for a change. Also, get second and third opinions. Ask your family, friends, customers, hey, take a look at this logo or take a look at my vision statement and what do you think? And they might go, oh, I don't even understand what that means. Or what are you trying to say here? Or, hey, good message. I agree with the message. I think it's going to go somewhere. Okay, then good. You're on your way. Continue on with some logos. Expert Media Matters is actually a company that Martin and I own, and we're consultants in marketing and digital marketing. And this is not a commercial, but just to let you know that we came up with the name and the logo. The image on the right is one of my branding messages, the National Building Expert. So we use this logo to promote our the Ask Building Expert webinars. We have a blog, and we do some other things, and we use the same logo. I have other companies that have different logos, but I wanted to separate each company and have a separate branding strategy for each company so people don't get confused or mixed up. What about story selling? Well, story selling is actually basically storytelling, but you're using the story to sell something. And the something could be a product, service, or just sell yourself, or sell the idea that you're a good person and people would want to associate with you or do business with you. So we go back to the know, like, and trust factor to create a story. So basically, story selling is like branding. So let's look at the image on the left, and if you can see, it's Spider-Man. Okay, so um, when talking about Spider-Man, who is Spider-Man? Well, basically, he helps people. So one of the elements of a story is you have a hero and you also have a villain. So it's a good guy, bad guy situation. So that's one of the elements. Also, another element is fill a need. And if you look at the images on the right, it's these smart watches. And basically, people use these watches to count steps. So the healthy, conscious person would wear it so that everywhere he goes, it tracks how many steps he makes. And that's a good tracker because uh, you're supposed to walk so many steps a day in order to keep healthy. Okay. So my doctor said I'm not walking enough. So I picked up this device to track how many steps I make. So I put it on my dog, and uh, I told the doctor how many steps I made, and he says, "Oh, good job." Okay, so stories have been around for centuries, about 40,000 years, because that was a primary method of communication. So storytelling was used, passed down through generations, and the uses of stories were uh, talking about tradition, history, culture, lessons, survival. So if you look back at the caveman days, they had to tell a story about, uh, if you see this huge woolly looking things with two big tusks, don't try and go attack it by yourself with a spear because the last guy that did it didn't make it. So it gets passed down through generations, and that's how stories became invented. So the idea is you take your own story and you use that as part of your marketing and your branding. Tell a good story. Okay? Storytelling is the best marketing you can do, and your brand is basically your story. So you remember when you were a kid, there was this book called Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. Well, when I was a kid, this was one of my favorite books. And believe it or not, this book was written in 1960, and that was like a long time ago. And the interesting thing about it is that the whole story contains only 50 words because the author had this idea that he wanted to use the book for training, vocabulary, reading, and he didn't want to put in too many words. So it's amazing how a book like this with only 50 words could be like a best-selling book. And today it's still being sold and kids still read it. And the message here is that, uh, and I learned this back at grade school, that the moral is, well, the story was that the person keeps trying to ask this other person, try this green eggs and ham, and the other person says, no, I don't want it. It doesn't look good, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually at the end, the person decides to try it, and then he liked it. So the moral is that you might not be afraid to try something new because you might like it. Okay. So to me, this is the basics of a good story. The other story, uh, more recently, is Chicken Soup for the Soul. And I don't know if you remember that book, but it actually came out in 1993. And since then, there's about more than 250 titles based on this original book. So Chicken Soup for the Soul was the original. And then after that, they had Chicken Soup for the Teenager or Teenage Soul, Chicken Soup for this, Chicken Soup for that. And it became a whole franchise. Um, the reason I'm bringing this up is because this book was actually a book about inspirational true stories about ordinary people, and it didn't go anywhere when the authors wrote it. They tried to to market it to different publishers, and it kept getting turned down. And then uh, at this book fair, and they're ready to pack up and go home. And then there was one other person that they didn't talk to during the whole day, and they went to approach that person, and the person said, "Oh yeah, I like this story, and that's history." The reason why I know the history is because the one of the authors, Jack Canfield, and I are friends, and he told me what the whole story was, and how we became successful. They were ready to give up. So it's an amazing story. So I told him, hey, Jack, I'm going to come up with my own book called Miso Soup for the Mind. And he goes, oh, yeah, that might be a good idea. So when you're talking about a story, you have to be yourself. If you look at the picture, there's a whole field of thousands of sunflowers, and it's facing toward the sun, and there's one that's facing the opposite way. Now, what's wrong with that guy? Okay? But the image here is that that guy is not a follower. He's willing to take the risks and tell his own story. He's willing to to be himself. Your story is the only thing that nobody else can copy. It's uniquely yours. Who you are as a person is more important, basically, than what you do. Nobody can be you. Therefore, your story increases your market value, builds trust, and gain loyalty. So if you say, well, I don't have a story, I can't think of a story, think about yourself, think about what you do, what you stand for, and start formulating ideas. Okay, so the key here is to be real, be understood, be the authority, and be your own person. Don't try and copy someone else because then it's going to be pretty obvious. Let's talk about some ways to promote your story. Well, here's a good idea. You can spend $50,000 and you could put up a billboard with neon lights that goes on 24/7 in Times Square. Okay, that's a way to promote your story. But oh, okay, so you say that ridiculous. Uh, you don't have that kind of money, or if you do, you're not willing to spend that kind of money, or the money could be spent in a more useful way. Or what did you say? Oh, what is a cheaper way to promote your story or less expensive way? Okay, if you look at the slide on the right, you see the social media icons. There's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, Reddit, Google, Vimeo. All these are actually social media platforms. Some of them are more social media than not, uh, but that's a way you can promote your story by using the social media platforms. And in in most cases, it may not cost you any money. It's going to cost you your time, but that's a good investment because you're able to go on social media and post your message. And if you go on, let's say, I use Facebook a lot. If you go on Facebook and you make one post, uh, and then you say, okay, well, I don't have anything to say, I'll make another post in a week. Is that effective marketing? I don't think so. So you want to be able to make more posts more frequently and without trying to say the same story, because if you tell the same story, everyone's going to get bored and they're not going to want to read your posts. Another way to promote your story is word of mouth. This is the traditional way. And let's say, for example, you um, you attend a movie and you like it. Okay? So you're one person. So you like the movie so much that you you went out and told three of your friends. Maybe not all at once, but when you saw them or talked to them or email or text, and you told them, yeah, this is a dynamite movie. You got to go see it. It's pretty awesome. And so you tell those three friends, and they go see the movie, and then they like it. So then they tell three of their friends. So eventually, word of mouth, the message gets spread. Okay, but how long does that take? It may take days, weeks, months. Okay, so what is a better method or an alternative method or an additional method? I call it the word of media. And it's similar to the word of mouth, except you're using your phone, your laptop, your iPad, your desktop, and you're emailing or making posts to your friends in social media. Okay, that's another way. let's say you have 500 friends, Facebook friends. If you make one post about the movie to Facebook on social media, there's a good chance that more of your friends would see it and they'll get the message. So it's faster using the media method than the word of mouth method. And a lot of people are on their phones or on their little devices, so they're going to get the message. How do you think the media, the TV, radio, and newspapers get the word out today? Exactly, using social media. And the traditional way they still promote on radio, TV, and newspaper. You still see ads in the newspaper and all that. But in addition to that, these media platforms are doing the same thing. So, for instance, KHO and 2 News, they promote not only people watching their newscast, but they're on social media platforms all the time, and that's their way of promoting also. So, as I discussed, there's media platforms that you can use, and you may not want to try all of them at the same time. You may pick whichever one works for you the best and um, go from there, and then you might want to try other ones. Okay, this is exciting because I'm sharing uh, your free social media checklist. And Martin and I came up with this list, and we call it the EMM Lucky 7 social media checklist. And I think I had a couple more, but Lucky 8 didn't sound as good as Lucky 7. So we narrowed it down to the 7 most important things you can do for social media. So this is the big takeaway at this webinar. And let me go through each one and briefly discuss it. And these are questions to ask yourself every single day. And we created this list that's printable, and we want you to print it out and attach it to your computer, to your desk, your file cabinet, wherever you see that it's going to be available, and you can look at it every day. So, number one, these are questions to ask yourself. Am I promoting my unique brand? Well, hopefully you do have a unique brand and you're promoting it. If you do not have a unique brand, you can contact us and we can try to help you formulate ideas on more uniqueness. Number two, am I telling my story and sticking to it? So basically, it's a two-part question. Am I telling my story? And if you are, the second part is, am I sticking to it? So you can tell your story, but don't change your story or keep changing it. And then people are going to get confused because they don't really know where you stand. So be consistent. Number three, did I identify and address my target audience? So let's say you have your unique brand, you have your awesome story, but you're marketing it to uh, an audience that's not your target audience. That's not an effective marketing method. So let's say that you have a auto repair company. Well, who's your target audience? The target audience are car owners. So if you market your story to people who like to garden, that's not necessarily your target audience, right? So you kind of got to narrow it down and see who your target audience is. Hopefully, all these gardeners have cars and they're going to need your service if you're an auto repair person. Number four, did I select the best social media platforms? And the best for me may not be the best for you. It may not be the best for Martin. It may not be the best for any other people. So I cannot tell you who the best platform is for you to use. What I can do is tell you, based on my history, Facebook is the platform that I use. Why? Because I have more friends and followers on Facebook than I do Instagram. Uh, and depending upon what my marketing is, what my target audience is, Twitter may not be the right one, or even LinkedIn. Okay, so you, it's a trial and error, and it's just a fallback for me. And Facebook seems to be working the best, so that's why I use it. So for me, social media is the best. For other people, and I talk to other business owners, and they use Instagram rather than Facebook. So I say, good, whatever works. Number five, did I create my personal message? So your personal message is coming from you, not coming from somebody else. And you can take ideas from other people, but formulate into your own personal message. So people are uh, wanting to do business with you and not with some image that you created. And by the way, believe it or not, people are emotional and you don't know what their hot buttons are. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. I post things on social media that's more personal than business sometimes. And I've gotten business because of the personal connection. For instance, I'm also a musician, and I have a construction engineering company, and I post continually about defective buildings or problems with your building, things like that. And um, this guy hired me because he saw posts of me playing guitar at a restaurant, and that was a connection. He said, "Oh yeah, I play music too. I have this roofing problem. I need you to come out." And so I said, let me ask you, what's the reason why you called me up? He goes, oh, because you're a fellow musician. That's the only reason. So you never know. Number six, does my message have visual content? So whenever you post, and this is very important, you don't just post a message, blah blah blah. I do this, or here's a special today, and that's it. You got to make your post interesting. You have to have a image, a photo, or a video, and then you post your message. So basically, your post is two parts. One is your text, and the other one is a visual. More people can remember the visual than they remember what the text said. So, for instance, if I post a picture of a corroded pipe, and I put down in the text, this is a picture of a corroded pipe that I took out from one building that was leaking, and it flooded a high-rise building, 22 floors, okay, and put it up. More people would remember that photo of the corroded pipe than what I said about the experience. Okay, so visuals are very important. Number seven, lucky seven, did I make my post today? And we're not telling you what to do, but we're recommending that you post daily or as many times as you can during the week. So if you're too busy and you can only post 4 times a week, that's better than posting once a week. And the more posts you make, the more people are going to see it. And that's the key to social media marketing. So you ask your question, do I do these items consistently to help grow my business? So if you want just one thing to take away from this webinar today, is you use this checklist, and believe it or not, it's guaranteed to work. We have a money back guarantee. Okay. If it doesn't work and you tried these items, all seven, okay, you have to do all seven. And let's say you do all seven consistently for 30 days and it does not work, we'll refund the money you paid for attending this webinar. In fact, I feel so confident we'll double your money back. That's a double your money back guarantee. Okay. And by the way, we're recording this, so I can't change my mind later and say, no, I didn't say that. Okay, so that's the end of my talk. But before I get into any questions, I want to do a little promotion here. We have our upcoming webinar schedule and our webinar website. We built a webinar website. It's specific to only our webinars and not much else. So interesting, yeah. So we developed Martin built this specific website just to market our social media webinars, and it's called askmarketingexperts.now.site. And you can go there and you can register for the next webinar, and you can look at the lists. We got webinars scheduled once a month throughout the rest of the year. So for example, our topics are going to be social media videos, how to create videos, what to do with your videos. We got a webinar talk about websites. We got a webinar about free social media, blogging, press releases, how to get cheap marketing, and then one other one is repurposing your content. And all of these webinars are free, and it's based on our own experience of successes that we have gotten using these methods. So for instance, I don't know if I mentioned publishing your own book. So we've done all these different things that we're telling you guys. So basically, we're taking our knowledge, experience, information, imparting it to you folks, letting you know we're sharing information for free because we want to help small business owners. So that's the whole purpose of what we're doing. And these methods we use so we can tell you what worked and what didn't work. So you're free to go online and do 40 hours of research and try to figure out what to do on your own, or you can come attend our webinar and learn this information because we've gone through all that. We've done research. We've spent thousands of hours researching each of the topics, and we're combining our research with our own experience. Now, naturally, our own experiences are the ones that really matter, not from some textbook that you read or article that you read in a magazine. That might not work for you. So we're letting you know what our own experiences are, and I think that really counts for a lot. Also, we've formed a association called Small Business Hawaii, and if you're from the mainland attending this webinar, you can still join, but it's basically for small business owners, entrepreneurs that live and work in Hawaii. And part of the idea or purpose or our mission or vision for this association is to help small business owners by giving them information to help their business survive and thrive. And another factor in this association is we're going to be in touch with government officials and give them our opinion and your opinion on what's important and how you feel. So we have topics about a lot of things that affect small business owners, such as uh, raising the taxes, increasing minimum wage, uh, increase in unemployment taxes, things that affect the small business owner. That's what we're interested in. Okay, so um, there was a couple questions that were emailed to me prior to this webinar, and let's go over those. Or let me, before I get into those, I want to open it up to our uh, attendees right now and see if there's anybody that has any questions, either through chat or the Q&A, or if you want to ask it live. We're opening it up right now. Martin, are you there?
Yes, Lance, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Did anybody have any questions on the chat or the Q&A?
Gee, I've been monitoring. We haven't had any raised hands for the Q&A or any questions in the chat at this point.
Okay, that's fine. That means everybody uh, understood everything and they're fired up to go, or they got bored and fell asleep. But anyway, I was emailed a couple questions, and I'm going to discuss it now since there's nobody that's live on the webinar that has any. But if you do, please let us know. Okay, so the first question is, and this is interesting. I have two, and this is the person asking the question. I have two separate businesses, massage therapy and selling health products. Both are promoted on the same website. I have one website. How do I separate each brand? Okay, so the idea is that, so I'm thinking that the person probably had the massage therapy business first, and then they decided to incorporate health products into their one website. That's a good idea, but the question is, how do I separate each brand? Okay, one way is you can separate your website into two separate websites, one specific for massage therapy and one specific for your health products. So basically, it looks like you have two separate companies and they're not related. Okay, so you can do that, and you can cross promote. So what that means is, let's say you have your main massage therapy website. Here's what I do. Here's the about me. Here's the different types of massages that I can do. Here's my rates uh, and all that good stuff. And then somewhere on the website, then you can put a link or a blurb about uh, keep healthy. Thank you for getting massages. I have health products available. And then there's a button when they click on, it goes to your other health product website. So let's say someone is interested in your health products, but they're not interested in massages. So you have a separate website that just has health products and people can order online and all that. And then you have somewhere uh, and a photo of somebody getting a massage and saying, if you need a massage, click here. They click it and it goes to your massage website. So that's called cross promotion. Now, you may ask, well, wait a minute. Why are you telling me to build two websites? I already spent thousands of dollars on having somebody build, this other website, my massage one, and I wanted to save money. That's why I put in my health products on that website. Okay, well, that's fine, but believe it or not, we have a platform, Expert Media Matters does, that you can get uh, unlimited websites. So if you want your second website, that's fine. If you want more websites, it's unlimited websites. So if you're interested, let us know and we can fill you in on the information. And by the way, it's unlimited websites, free hosting. They have a done for you uh, blog where you can select and post all you want to social media and other valuable package of information for social media marketing. So it's and we use that. The uh, How you got notified about this webinar, askmarketingexperts.now.site. That's basically that website was built using the platform that we use. Okay. So I have another question that came up. Um, I own a restaurant in Honolulu, and it's obvious. And of course, I'm not, since a pandemic, I have not been doing too good. And how do I get my story out? And this is a restaurant owner. He didn't say what type of restaurant, but uh, I'm assuming that he's he's doing takeout. He was a sit down, and he's probably doing a little sit down, or maybe not, or mostly takeout. But the question is, how do I get my story out? So basically, the answer is what I discuss throughout this webinar: branding, story selling, posting to social media. But there's a lot of restaurants. Okay, so the idea is to figure out what your specialty is. So, uh, and I'm not sure if this restaurant owner is on this webinar or not, but um, I'm assuming that he is. So here's what I would do. You look at what's your good points. Give me 3 items or 5 items that you tell me how you're different from these other 10 restaurants down the road. Okay, so I take that information, you take that information and you come up with a story. Did you make the best loco mocos, or you have your homemade kimchi that you give free for each plate lunch, or come up with things like these. And then you make a picture, you post it, and you keep posting your different stories on social media. That's how to get your story out. And then you have other people, like your customers, say, hey, can you do me a favor? um, can you, if you like the meal, post on social media that you liked it, where you got it from, even take a picture of the food and do that. Okay? And don't tell them that if you don't like it, post the picture and say you didn't like it. Okay, so you only want positive responses. And believe it or not, that goes a long way. I have friends who own restaurants, and one of them posts a menu, like they post a menu today of what they're going to be selling tomorrow, and a picture of maybe ribs or whatever the special is. Okay, and consistently do that, and that's good marketing. Then I have another person that posts uh, similar to that, but then they post pictures of the meals that they made that day and say, we have this, or yesterday we had this, and it was Korean chicken and we sold out. And if they keep doing that, people keep seeing that and liking it, and the word is spread. So, and they even they have section on the road where they blocked off, and cars can come for pickup of the takeout. And when cars come, they take pictures of the person and they put it on, say so and so, ordered fried Simon. Thank you for coming, and and people like to see their picture on Facebook and Instagram and all that, and that kind of sends a message out like, oh, this restaurant must have good food because look at all these people coming and buying the food. So the message is consistent when they keep doing that, and eventually other people will try it out. Oh, by the way, yeah, I saw the photos on Facebook, so I decided to stop by and try it out too. And that's the way you get your story out. So I appreciate the questions. If anybody else has other questions, you can either call the number or email us, and we'll be very happy to help. If you have other ideas for other webinars regarding um, traditional marketing or social media marketing, please let us know. If you have had information that was provided to you and it helped you and you liked the webinar, please send us an email to. We're happy to uh, entertain good feedback, and if you have things that aren't so good, we don't mind hearing that too, because our job is to get better and better at what we do. And by the way, I'm scheduled to give like 65 webinars this year. So I have no qualm with people saying, you know what, I think you could improve on doing this or doing that. That's fine with me. We're not on a high pedestal. We're grassroots, local guys willing to help small business owners. So, Martin and I appreciate you guys attending the webinar today. Hopefully, you learned something, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thank you very much. Bye.